You know, it's been a while since I've looked at Skyblock. Let me see what's up.
I love the year of the seal, I said ceilingly, bouncing my beach ball into the air. But then suddenly, the seal annihilator appeared and sent me to the rift dimension for 90 days to reflect on my intensive balling.
Okay, so that's a seal. Is that a beach ball stuck in cobweb? Okay, that seems like a bug maybe? Is that time Dio? People getting banned? Yep, you know the drill. No matter how much Skyblock changes, how much time passes, or whether or not there's ever updates, one thing will always remain true. The ability for Skyblock players to do weird and funny things that usually end with bans. Today, we'll cover the beach ball incident where some people were balling a little too hard. Our story begins on February 11, 2025. Admins released a new small update to Skyblock called Year of the Seal. It's basically an event that happens every 12 years in Skyblock that makes fishing slightly less boring and allows people to gain some new items like talismans and upgrades. Nothing unusual, except for the way you obtain them. When you fish, you have a tiny chance to catch beach balls as a treasure catch, and you can use these balls to play mini games where you try to bounce it in the air for as long as possible to win fishy treats. Those fishy treats can be exchanged for accessories and other cool stuff. The event began a day later, and like all new mechanics in Skyblock, people quickly found ways to break it. People discovered that you can get the ball stuck inside a cobweb and bounce it on your head, which was much easier than doing it the intended way and always got you the maximum reward. This method spread quite a lot in lots of public Discord servers like Cowshed. It wasn't a secret at all, and it didn't really make much money. However, that's not gonna get you banned. There's a little bit more exploits to this update than that. Okay, apparently, giant beach balls make 160 million an hour. Just letting you know.
How so? Can we AFK the giant balls? I'm a little confused.
Wait, Tyler, who said you're allowed to talk on the channel? Get out! Get away from me! Introducing Hutayo and Golem. These two have been playing Skyblock for a very long time and know their way around the community. Golem was a well-known programmer of QOL mods like Skyblock Utils, and Hutayo made YouTube videos and duped billions of coins in a completely unrelated incident 3 years ago. Just like any Skyblock player, these two love a quick buck. So, they analyzed the video sent to them by their friend and tried to figure out what on earth was happening and why is it so profitable. It turns out, there's another type of beach ball called a giant beach ball, where bouncing it next to other players within a few blocks gives all of them fishy treats, and the more players there are, the more treats everyone gets. Hutayo and Golem really wanted to know more, but they aren't going to ask people in the video since they won't just reveal their method to them. But from just looking at it, they were able to figure it out very shortly, and after ironing out the details, figuring out exactly which precise spots it works in and calculating the numbers, seeing the prices of the beach balls and how to split costs and profits, and at which point it goes from profitable to outright broken, they got to work. Since this method requires as many people as possible to do, they decided to call some of their friends for help, which were Baudeclin, Idote, Thunder3467, and Lytton. Although Lytton didn't ever officially join their attempts, he still helped them a lot with their methods and was a spy to see what the other group exploiting it were doing. So, now we have Golem, Hutayo, Bo, Idote, and Thunder. That's 5 people, and because they didn't have any more friends, they figured out that if each of them got on a few alt accounts, they could increase their profits by a lot. Hutayo didn't really like the idea and felt like it's too risky, advising his group to stick to just one alt account each. In theory, this should be fine. Hypixel's rules explicitly say that you are allowed to AFK if you aren't putting any inputs on an account and are just standing still. And some old DMs Hutayo had with a Hypixel admin further confirmed that this method of AFKing would fall within the bounds of what Hypixel considers okay. Everything seemed in check, so they started playing with their balls. And their numbers were a bit off actually, since it made them much more money than they originally expected. With the help of friends and completely random people joining the lobby and AFKing next to their beach balls, they were making between 300 and 500 million coins per hour per person, or about $120 worth of booster cookies per hour. That's a disgusting amount of coins. They could earn 1 billion coins, which most Skyblock players dream of reaching one day, within 2 hours, and on paper, All of this seemed legit and still within the rules. To maximize their profits, they took inspiration from OPEC Plus, and instead of hoarding oil, they were hoarding all the fishy treats they made in order to sell it after the limited time event goes away, which would mean prices skyrocketing due to higher demand and no one being able to obtain them anymore for a while. They knew that instantly selling large amounts would crash the prices and wouldn't be profitable anymore for anyone.
1.5 million to... Boom!
So, they put all their earnings inside chests on their island. This whole row of double chests is full of stacks of fishy treats, over 10 billion coins worth. Yutawa and Golem earned that in under 10 hours. At this rate, they were on their way to become trillionaires very soon. But to no one's surprise, admins got onto this pretty quickly. About 22 hours after the update, not even a full day, beach balls were disabled, and the balls were promptly stopped from colliding with cobwebs at all. Maybe someone snitched, or maybe some random passerby saw it and reported it as a bug. But either way, I don't think anyone was surprised at how easily it got patched. I'll be honest, out of the other Skyblock exploits, this one is one of the funnier ones to look at. Maybe I should make a tier list at some point. So, where's the bans? The thing about YouTubers is that there's a little worm inside our brains that takes control of us sometimes and makes us share everything we find even remotely funny or interesting, and Yutayo is no different. He thought it would be a funny video if he uploads himself abusing the bug. It's fairly normal for footage of bugs to surface after they get patched, so he edited and uploaded this. And 2 hours after uploading that video, he got this message. Yep, Bo, Idoubt, Thunder, Yutao, and Golem all got banned. And not just a normal ban actually, a full account wipe too. Their whole profiles were gone. Obviously, they do what any reasonable person would do here and panicked. They started contacting admins, contacting friends, making support tickets, appealing. But in the middle of doing all of that, they noticed something weird. Out of everyone else who did this, even the other group that started it before them and did it for longer, they were the only ones that got wiped from this. What was more baffling to them is that same group had found a new method to bounce their balls that was 10 to 30 times more profitable. Instead of bouncing on it on Cobweb, you could go to the Crystal Hollows and bounce on it there. Instead of one ball, you can do 10 on multiple accounts, all of them AFK. The group's spy, Lytton, was able to get lots of footage of them exploiting it and would try to stop them. He wasn't the only one upset though. A lot of people in the community were pissed off at this group since they were instantly selling everything they made, immediately crashing the prices. So, the people who earned the treats the legitimate way were losing tons of money. The Crystal Hollows method didn't last long either, but it was long enough to cause a lot of damage. It didn't help that lots of people discovered this method by just stumbling across other people doing it since it was all in public lobbies. Yutayo was furious and kept trying to either get the other group wiped as well or his group unwiped. He sent all the evidence to support, made tickets, documented everything, but nothing actually came out of any of it. And to this day, his group of 5 people is still wiped and probably will be forever, whilst the other group got away with it scot-free. You know, one thing we noticed whilst making this video is that the guy that was originally part of the first group, the guys that did it first, is still selling his stuff. There's no way. He's actually still... Look at this. You can check his auction house. That's so funny. That is so... He even waited a few months to... Oh my god. According to HellCastle's rules, these 5 did break the rules. They abused an unintended mechanic with cobwebs. However, hundreds of other people did the same thing. The cobweb method was public. But they also abused the giant beach ball, but so did many others. So why only punish them? I couldn't get to a conclusive answer, nor could they. However, I have a couple different theories. This group of people, particularly Yutayo, had already been on the admin's radar for lots of previous things he's done. He had been dancing on the lines of what's allowed and not allowed perfectly for quite some time, maximizing profits from bugs while still being in a gray area of the rules. So, there is a chance the admins were fed up with him and felt like he'd done too much by now, and his group of friends were collateral damage, Especially the Thunder guy. They barely knew him actually. He was just a member in a guild they both happened to be in, and was happy to help them when they asked. I couldn't even find much about him. Even they couldn't contact him after a while of this happening. There's also one more thing. Hyutayo did upload a video of the exploit on YouTube, even after the cobwebs method was patched. So anything to do with beach balls was maybe still a red flag, and him making it more public pushed his group beyond the line and got them nuked. We can never know for sure though, honestly. This event happened quite some time ago. I really doubt any wipes will be reverted, and people in the group already moved on a long time ago to other things. Like Golem. He actually moved on the quickest, by playing board games with his family whilst he got the news of his wipe. For context, I did win that game of Splendor. Did you also cheat in it? Anyway, seems like lots of funny things have happened in Skyblock in the last year that no one has covered at all. And since me and Tyler finally found the password to our channel again, we might as well start covering them. See ya, and have a nice day. Oh, this also happened on Valentine's Day, which makes this a lot funnier. And some people made this, which...